the medicine woman.
Okay, if you've seen the title of this video, it might be confusing to you. It may not be, but it's basically saying what I've always felt for a very long time. Someone who's a victim of bullying and abuse in many ways. The only way to undo harm is to get a time machine. You can't undo what's been done. And I think when we say that, we say it, I think people kind of think that means that you can't be accountable, you can't be responsible, and you can't even help those you've harmed in the process of healing, and that reconciliation, forgiveness is not a thing. I'm not saying that. All those things can exist with the premise that once you've done something, once you've said something, once you've harmed someone, you can't undo it. And I want to just point in this video, I just want to let the point of this video is to get people to know that sometimes you couldn't just have done it at all. So it's always as much as we're careful about choices we make when, for example, you make a choice where your finances could be at stake. You make a choice where your life could be at stake. As I make this channel as your medicine woman, Ashra every day, as I make this channel, podcast, whatever I'm gonna make of it, as I make this, I hope that you can understand also that um, we should be, as for the people we love, for the people around us, for the people we live in, the world we share with, that we at at least oh human decency, be careful to kind of understand that sometimes you can't undo the harm you've caused. Sometimes it lingers with people forever, especially if it gets to the point where they have PTSD. So it's very important, and I just want to start the video with that. And I start the video saying again, harm is not subjective. And I think we've been told that for a long time that harm is not subjective. I think what a lot of people conflate harm with is being uncomfortable. I think that people can make you uncomfortable, and being harmed, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, your body will have an adverse reaction to that. And there are a million and one ways and numerous ways that it has effects on your body. And I'm going to name them. It can make people feel unsafe in their own world, in their own body, and in their own space. When people, and this is something that people who are marginalized, most specifically women, who feel consistently, feeling like they feel unsafe in the world, they can't go out, they can't live experiences, even those who are gender nonconforming, for those who are plus size, marginalized people feel like this every day. They feel unsafe within their bodies, they feel unsafe within the world because people have made them feel that way. And if you're someone who's trying to unpack and decolonize ideas of what they've been taught about. How should I treat this person? How do I look upon the world? La vie en rose, pink, rose glasses. How do I make a better world? Because I truly believe that we can. The world that we want is something we can create if we do our best to contribute to that world that we want. How can I undo the harm? Not undo. How can I make preventative measures to make sure that I am not harming others and putting them at risk? This is what this video is about. So you need to always make sure that you are doing, especially for those you love and those around you, you're doing the work to make sure that they feel safe and heard and seen. And the reason why I bring this upon you, because some people will be like, how's that my problem? Blah, 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 blah. I always say that always kind of every human being wants to feel this way. Every human being wants to feel like they're being seen, they're heard, and they feel safe in their relationships. And for those who are watching, I know that maybe once someone has made you feel that way, but it's not an excuse to ever make anyone feel like unsafe. And I want to say that even if you are someone causing harm and you're trying to like decolonize the idea of how your harm has affected other people, I will say that I'm sorry that whatever happened to you happened, whatever made you feel unsafe in the world and happened, and it wasn't okay. I think I've said before in previous videos, which I would advise you watch, if that's what you're into. I believe that one part of healing is getting justice for yourself. So in order to prevent yourself from harming other people, prevent yourself from causing the kind of harm that from kind of preventing yourself from causing the kind of harm That's it. That you've inflicted upon other people. You have to get angry and demand justice for yourself. Demand justice for your inner child. The ways you can demand justice for your inner child is simply really empathizing with what you've gone through, empathizing with ways it's kind of like affected your life. Maybe sometimes, all the time, you feel exhausted. You feel like you can't really commit to people. You have a lack of trust in people. It's overall affected your way of life because people act like, oh no, it didn't affect me. Just because, this is the thing, just because you're productive doesn't mean that you're functional. Your ability to produce and your ability to be organized doesn't mean you're functional. And as someone who's neurodivergent, who is consistently disorganized, even this video is not organized, nothing I do is organized because I have ADHD. I'd say I'm more functional than some people who seem organized and have their life together and have the job they want and have whatever, because I'm able to have the proper coping mechanisms to make sure that I and the people around me and the people I interact with are as safe as possible. And I make them feel like they can feel their most loved and their most authentic self. And you can only, and your relationships will become much richer and your life will become much more profound if you practice the idea that you deserve justice. So the moment you realize, okay, this is what I've gone through, this should not have happened to me, then you would understand that this doesn't have to happen to anyone else. And that's where the generational trauma and generational curses and the cycles end. If you just overall just take what has happened to you and get into the process of alchemy, that is turning it into something positive. Because what is happening is in this world now, we have negativity and we make more negativity. And it's easy to make negativity into negativity, but to make it into positivity is the most profound way. I could go deep and deep into that, but that's where I'm going to stop. Another way you can make people harm others, making them feel unsure of who they are and what their purpose is. Even as children are starting to come into themselves and being themselves, I don't think anyone has any right to tell them, this person, this is who they are, this is what they should be doing. I've always said this. One thing that I feel like women have been robbed of in history is they've been told, I'm the addition to this person. Every single human being, male, female, trans masculine, trans feminine, non binary, whatever, has a destiny, has a purpose, and has the path they're supposed to go on. You are not the extension of someone else. You are simply your own individual. What you are with someone else is a partner, a confidant. You are not like a side character to the life of other people. And the moment people start feeling like this is the moment their lives become unfulfilling. And no one should ever feel unsure of themselves. No one should be ever made to feel that way. And if you've ever made someone feel that way, you are subconsciously or consciously trying to control the path of this person's destiny, control the path of this person's autonomy. And it's not right. Not cool, dude. Not cool. Make them question their own authority over their own autonomy in their life. No one should feel like, the thing about advice, and sometimes I suck at this because the reason I made this channel is because I feel like I gave great advice and I just have good wisdom. Even when people don't take my advice, I'm like, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. My best friend is autistic and I'm neurodivergent. I think I have ADD, but then I don't know. I I just don't know. I'm not gonna say something I don't have. I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. I am diagnosed with dyspraxia. I need to get ADHD so I can get my meds. See how I change from topic. Either way, what's the point? You need to let people do what they want with their life. And it's not just like do what they want, but it's like sometimes like your authority is not like, you're not God. Your authority is not like the end all be all. It's simply your advice, your perspective, and the truth about the scenarios people are in, because you're not in that specific scenario, you don't have that specific experience, they might be leaving out things. So I definitely just say, okay, this is my advice. I don't have, because I've always kind of, like, I'm the eldest child. and I've always kind of like felt like very motherly to people. And I've had to realize that I'm no authority over anyone. Well, unless I have children, then it'd be different. But then I wouldn't even see myself as an authority. I would see myself as an authority, obviously. I don't want to raise like bad kids. I would see myself as a guide. You're guiding others to their path. And it's very like, what's the people who kind of want to control everything? Those people, I don't have the words to kind of put it together. To just be like, you have to just pick every choice everyone is doing. No, you don't. No, you don't. Picking apart people's boundaries, speaking about their self worth or their source of inner power. Absolutely not. I have very strong feelings about religion, but I won't discuss them on this channel because of that. If this is the path someone has chosen to kind of like, what's the word? Get into that part of evolution and get into that part of themselves that will grow and be like ascend to the greatest version of themselves. Who am I? Ashera or Ashra. I don't know why I keep pronouncing my own name wrong. I think because I live in the UK and that's what people say. They just say Ashera. Ashra. Who am I, Ashra? To go tell people that's not valid, I would say I think parts of it are problematic, but if it works for you, it works for you. And the kind of boundaries that people have surrounding their life, the choices they want to make, at a certain point, you may not agree with that, but you have to respect them. And if you don't respect it, picking apart there's a point where you have to kind of let people go. Let them go, let them live their life. And if their choices they make, they don't agree with you, or you don't agree with the choices that they make, let them go. Every human being is they have a right to autonomy. You don't have to share your opinion on how someone chooses to think, live, or understand themselves. I am that way. I think everyone feels like, even generally, I'm not even saying on the internet because that's just how it is generally. They have to share your opinion on this person's weight, on this person's beliefs, on how this person looks. Unless they asked you, is not necessary. And even then, when you're doing it, I need you to come from a place of kindness. There's no need to share your opinion, especially if you don't have anything constructive to say. For me, if I don't have a single constructive thing to say about that, I don't share it. It's not necessary. I have a friend, she's like, I need you to be brutally honest with me at all times. I told her no. I'd only share my opinion in brutal honesty. First of all, I'd be honest. There doesn't need to be brutality with honesty. Honesty can still come from a place of kindness. But I feel like with her, I tell her the truth, but I say it as kindly and I say it as what's cold as possible because I'm not going to treat anyone differently from how I want to be treated. Make sure your words are kind, clear, and never come from a place of where you feel you're incapable of harming others. A lot of people feel like, oh, I can't hurt you because I'm your sister. I can't hurt you because I'm your mom. Or I can't hurt you because you're my... You can love someone and hurt them, and you can hurt them and not mean it. But you've hurt them. And that's the thing. It's like, oh, I didn't mean it. It's not like, oh, I didn't hurt this person. You cannot mean to kill someone and you're still like convicted of the crime. So at the end of the day, you should always come from a place of love and understand that I am capable of hurting this person. Just because I love them, just because I have their best interests in mind, doesn't mean you can't hurt them. You're not God, goddess, whoever. You're not. So you can harm other people and always keep that at the mind of the actions that you have. Again, everyone's sensitive. I hate this belief that, oh, they're just sensitive people, snowflakes, whatever. Every single human is, and people that kind of weaponize that are men. I've never met a sensitive person more than man. I was in high school. I remember there was this group of boys bullying me and my friends because we would sit on a bench and they liked the bench. I call one of them sensitive. He spiraled. He became a crazy person. It was like I'd never seen a spiral like that. Then the guys we were friends with were defending us and like whatever, and then they were fighting. We're just like, man, it was crazy. Talk about a man's favorite football team. A masculine man. Men are sensitive the way every human being is sensitive. Religious people are also sensitive. Even the way like people sexualize nuns, that's not okay. I'm a little witch and I don't think it's okay. Like everyone is sensitive and I think that this belief that, oh, there's just no face, there's just what's it called? I think the people that kind of perpetuate that is like they don't have the kind of introspection or self-awareness to kind of understand how the things affect them. Because when it's done to them, they go wild and crazy. Every single human being living, every single human being who lived or died was sensitive to something. Every human being sensitive because every human being has triggers and every human being feels pain. And if they feel pain, then they're sensitive. So always keep that in mind. Always kind of be conscious of people's sensitivity, and you don't have to speak when you're emotional. I'm a very emotional person, Cancer Moon, and I'm like, actually, I can't have this conversation right now. Can we switch it? And it's like, actually, I say something and be like, I don't have an opinion. And then I wait till I have a fully formed opinion and my opinion is coherent and it's clear and kind, and then I speak. You don't always have to talk. I think everyone kind of just speaks and says what's on their mind, and it's like, you don't actually have to. And you always don't have to speak on things you don't have the range to speak on. But that's just me. You see, I'm not all kumbaya. This video seems very kumbaya, pacifist, whatever. I'm not all that. I am mostly, but not all. But I think you can hurt people, but they have to deserve it. The people that you hurt have to deserve it because let's be motherfucking real. Um, like the Louis Mandroni, just think of civil rights, suffragettes, Black Panther, the way that many African countries gained their independence, not apartheid, sorry, Nelson Mandela, his movement. They had to harm people to get freedom. So I'm not saying that harming people is not like, even as a witch, I would advise sometimes you gotta hex a bitch. You gotta hex the bitch or curse that bitch back. You have to defend yourself. You can't become a walking floor lap, but you need to make sure that the person deserves it. You need to make sure that it's justified. That's the best way I can say it. You need to make sure that all the kind of decisions you make, good or bad, especially towards like if you want to hurt someone back, you need to make sure that it is justified. And honestly, above that, and I'm speaking to myself, the best way you can hurt someone is move on, live your life, and forget they exist. Like love and hate is like the same spectrum of the same emotion. Neutrality being like, I don't care if you live or die, is just even more hurtful. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope it's something that you think about, you consider, and you kind of just like overall just like are more conscious and conscientious, the word I don't think it is, of how your actions affect other people. They do affect other people. Always remember that. Thank you so much for watching. Love you.